This time on Ask Radrat, we're talking about the canceled Pro Skater 3 and 4 game and other future Tony Hawk projects. Let's go. Welcome back to Radrat Video, a channel all about skateboarding and skateboarding in various forms of media that I like to watch and absorb and review. And today, I've got a handful of questions for you, mostly about the Tony Hawk games, except for this first one, which comes from Patreon. This comes from Michael Android. If you ask a question through Patreon, you 100% get an answer, either directly or on video, if it works for a video. Let's get into this one. He says, I thought this trend would eventually die, but it's still going strong and is getting worse, in my opinion, of course. And that trend is filming in the style as Supreme's beloved William Strobeck. I swear I see skaters filming in the Strobeck style all the time on IG, even IRL at the skate park. Not only is it getting old, but it's a little disorienting. When every clip is quickly zooming in and out of the skater's head and feet, it's tough to focus. On top of all that, they try filming like Strobeck with their cell phones, doing weird pinched finger maneuvers on their screen. Looks ridiculous. And the worst thing is when the filmer trying to execute this technique will focus on the skater's face and not zoom out fast enough to even see the trick. Oh my gosh, why is the filmer even there? He shows an example. I know anyone has the right to film however they want, good or bad, but have you noticed this? Do you prefer this style of filming, or is it a bit overrated? You demand, Radrat. Michael Android. So the shot that he told me, I don't want to show it because I don't want to tear apart a current clip. You know, if it feels a really old shot that came out a long time ago, you can usually not get in trouble for it, but something that's current, the filmer could see it and copyright and all that kind of stuff. But the clip, I will describe it. It shows the skater's face like real close. The whole shot is the guy's face, zooms down, shows his feet, and then back to show the ledge where he does a back nose blunt around this curved ledge. Great trick. But yeah, it's his face and then his feet and then the trick, and it's kind of like you're doing this. Now, if that's every now and then, I think it's fine, especially if it's the first trick, because you see the skater's face. If you're filming like the traditional style from when I was learning about skate filming, was to use a fisheye, and you can film down low. The board is taking up most of the screen, but because of the fisheye, you can still see their face, and ideally you see their whole body. But if you do that, you don't really see their face. It's this big up at the top of the screen. So showing what the skater looks like to start the part is great. And showing it at the end too, like the last couple of tricks, the really heavy stuff, the hammers at the end of the part, showing their face and then showing the trick is cool too for like credit, because people might share that clip more and actually see who it is in the clip. You don't have to worry about if it was tagged and all that type of stuff. So showing the skater's face and then showing the trick, I think it's a good technique. It makes sense. It has a use, but when it's the only thing you see, it does get kind of tiring. Yeah, like you described, just always looking up and down, up and down, up and down. Here's the thing though, it solves the same problem as the fisheye. Because although you're not seeing the board and the skater's head at the same time necessarily, you at least see everything in the clip. So like, is a fisheye old? Is that been used too much? There are parts where every single shot is on a fisheye. Normally not stuff with big gaps, because they can get the whole thing in a shot if they're not on a fisheye and just they step back a ways. But yeah, like there are whole parts that are on a fisheye. It's just a standard thing, very common. Does it get annoying to see nothing but fisheye? Not to me. So I do think that is a better way to solve the problem. Yeah, so like I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem at all like what you talked about, seeing kids pinch their screens to zoom. I don't have a problem with that. Like, you do what you got to do to get the shot. If you're hanging off of something weird and you're upside down and you're kind of like this and it looks weird to film it, but the shot looks good, then it's fine. I don't care about that so much. So yeah, as long as it's not used way too much. But the problem, I was talking about how like it would be a good thing to start and end the part with. But when you're out filming, you don't know where that clip is going to be used. You don't know if this is the intro trick. You have no way to know that. You might know if it's going to be the ender because, you know how hard the trick is going to be. But yeah, like that's just, each shot, you got to make it look as good as you can. I think the standard should still be fisheye, but, if you want to mix that one in every now and then, nothing wrong with that. All right. Next question is from Big Daddy Bluey. He says, when it comes to the Tony Hawk games, what's the most difficult mission that makes you frustrated? There are a lot. The first one that came to mind was in Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. At the very end, we have to escape the helicopters. I had the worst time with this. Yes, I played it in a challenge run, and it was a little bit harder than it had to be. You can watch right here. I probably show you the playlist, but it's at the end. And it's brutal. So there's like a searchlight that's trying to find you, and then it does sometimes, and you lose. But throughout all the times I played it, throughout all the attempts at it, I never figured out a pattern. I don't know why it works the way it does. There's certain spots where if you go there, you're instantly caught. So it's not like if you're not going fast enough, you're going to outrun it or not. But it's like the route has to be just right, but there's no way to know what that route is going to be. It was horrible. That one, I almost quit the game, and it was like right at the end. That one took a long time. If you watch that series, I believe I cut out a lot of attempts, probably like a half hour of just over and over and over attempts on that one. It was brutal. There are 4 from Tony Hawk 4. As much as I like that game, as much as I would count it as one of my favorite, my top 3 I think would be 2, 3, and 4 at this point. But there's 4 or 3 challenges in that game that are ridiculous. First is a Kona snake run, where you have to like skate down the snake run and go around these cones and everything. It's so hard. Like, your controls just aren't good enough. You can't go into slow motion mode in this game. I think you could buy cheats in the game, but I didn't want to play with any cheats activated. Just wanted to play the game as it was intended. And like, it's so hard, and it's hard to get good at that. You just kind of luck into it, because like if you make this turn a little bit sharper, then you might have more speed for the next one. So it's not like you can get used to how it should feel. It's always going to be slightly different. You're always like, reacting to what's different this time. It was incredibly hard. I hate that one. Each time I play that game, I recoil when I get to Kona because of that. And the next one, which is the Misty Flip. So there's like a hut, and there's a bowl, and then there's this big thing, and you're supposed to Misty Flip over this. And like, even with stats on, because most of the time I play the game it's with no stats, even with stats on, like, how do you even clear that? You can't spine transfer. You just have to like gap out of the quarter pipe, but you always hit the thing. Like, I don't know if they tested it and they gave you like a special trick to do right there, and like it's really hard. I don't know how, like, what the secret is to doing it. I think you just get lucky. I'm not sure. The last one that came to mind is in Thug 1, where this is in Tampa, where there's the bridge that's up. You have to do a wall plant on the bridge and then manual down and then turn and manual all the way down the block. It's incredibly hard. When I played it with no stats, it was the hardest thing. I didn't do it. I skipped it. I could not do it. And then I finally went back and I tried it over and over and over and over and over, trying different techniques. And if I get special first and I get a little bit more speed, will that help? All this type of stuff, just grinding at that one until I finally got it. It was rough. That one was a very difficult one. All right. Next question is from Dylan, who says, I've been a long-time viewer and I love the content. I know you, like me, love the THPS franchise and have beat them multiple times. I can't remember if you've had a question like this before, but my question is, if you could build the perfect THPS game, what would you select to be in it? Such as 10 to 12 of the greatest stages, any of the character designs or outfits, which pros deserve to be in it, what iconic secret characters, what about the iconic soundtracks? Okay, and what kind of engine should it be on? Anything like that. What I would want is a exact remake of the first 4 games. So the first two, we got those, and that's good. I enjoy that version of the game. I think I still prefer the classic one, like the PlayStation one, just because like they made some changes as far as how it feels and the types of stuff that you can do that you wouldn't have been able to do when they came out. There's some stuff like that, and you can toggle things and make it different, but it does always feel a little bit different from the way that it did when they first came out. Now, if they made a 3 and 4 like they were going to, I believe that's in the next question. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next one, but if they had done that, that could have been great. But what I really wanted is just the original games made nicer. So recently there was a Sonic game that just came out, Sonic Beginnings, Sonic Origins, something like that. And it's the first 3 games. They made some updates to it that you wouldn't notice unless you compared the games side by side. There's times where Sonic is swinging, and in the old one, it's very choppy. He's here, then he's here, then he's here, then he's here. In the new one, they made it a lot smoother, and they filled in all the frames so he can swing all the way around very smoothly. And, they did a bunch of little things like that so that the game feels like you remember it feeling, as opposed to, just being an exact duplicate. So I would like them to remake. I would like them to just use the original game somehow. I'm not sure how the technical part of that would work, but if they could use the original games, make it HD, upgrade some textures, maybe smooth out some stuff here and there, keep the soundtracks the same. Although I would like to be able to swap. And we're talking like one game with all this stuff. If you could listen to the Tony Hawk 3 soundtrack when you're playing 1, something like that. But you have the option to just play it as it was created. I would like that the most. And I think the problem is it's just a narrower set of people. If it's a brand new game, like the one that did come out, you'll get more new people who are going to enjoy the way that is, and you can collect all this stuff and unlock more stuff, and you're getting stickers and you're getting all this type of thing, and that's great. But for me, if it's just me, I would like it to be as original as possible without having to dig out an old system and an old disc to play it, and just have it look a bit nicer, not totally different, just a bit of an upgrade. I think that would be a very good thing to do. I would like there to be more cheats. So, I like to do my swapped controls and, 0 stats and all that type of stuff. I would like to have some options like that you can just pause. When you start a new career mode, you can pick, I want this. I want this feature from Tony Hawk 3 to be there. I want this to be off. I want this to be on. And just have some more options so you can play it in more ways. I would like them to tweak some of the challenges, like the ones I talked about in Kona. They could, fix some stuff and make the game work a little bit better in those parts. And I like the option to switch to the original graphics. So in Halo Master Chief, you can play Halo 2, right? And it looks great. It looks current. It's very, but you can switch the graphics, and it looks like the Xbox. It looks higher def and cleaner and all that type of stuff, but it's the original stuff. I think that would be a super cool thing to do. Just be able to play the original version with a chunky skateboard that's got like a triangle for the tail because they didn't have enough polygons, that would be cool. That would be my ideal way to remake the first 4 games. And it's the first 4 because that's where it gets complicated. That's where, there's all this story mode and stuff, and I don't think that would go over as well. But let's get to the next question, which is from Enzo. Did you hear about the Andy THPS stream where Tony Hawk himself said that another pro skater follow-up was in the cars, but Vicarious ended up merging with Blizzard? Activision put on hold and received pitches from other devs, but to no success. While on this topic, do you think it would be good to stick with this current engine and build upon it with more remakes, or would you like them to go further, possibly refine the old Project 8 engine for something bigger, like possibly Thug 3? I think Thug 3 would be the best way to make a new game at this point. Now, I told you what my ideal one would be, like a very faithful version of the first 4 games, but if you wanted to remake Thug 1, I don't think it would work nowadays. It's too janky. There's all the stuff where you're driving cars, but the cars don't drive like cars. You turn and the car just kind of pivots. So you're just sliding all the time, and it's really awkward and weird. there's a lot of stuff in those games that would not hold up as well. They feel more dated despite being newer than the ones, the Pro Skater ones. But I don't think you can make a Pro Skater game now either, because they're so short. If you want to beat Pro Skater 2, it would take you like an hour, 2 maybe, if it's your first time playing. I can beat Pro Skater 2 in like 20 minutes. It's you know, and all that you do after you beat it again and again and again with different characters. You unlock more stuff. You can play around with the tricks. Like, there's things to do, but you can finish the game in an hour, and you can't do that now. You can't have someone go to the store, buy a PlayStation 5 game for $70, have them go home and beat it in 20 minutes. It'll take more time than that to install it. You know, you just can't do that now. So that's why the last one that came out, you know, it was 2 games worth, and it was not full price. And so that was kind of a sweet spot where they can do that, and they can, you know, add in some new types of stuff and different game modes and things like that. That was great. I would have loved to see 3 and 4. I would have played the hell out of it. I would have loved that, I'm sure. At this point, I'm scared that if they do, you know, get someone to do it, it wouldn't be the team that made the first set, and so it probably wouldn't be as good. They wouldn't know what they're doing as much, you know. Like, it could come out eventually, and it could be good, but I don't think so. I think the best thing to do right now is make a Thug 3. Make another story mode type game, which was not my favorite, but it would still work. You could still do that type of game now, with different types of challenges, and it's more of an open world type thing, and you skate around, you talk to this guy, and he's got this storyline about how he's trying to get more stuff in the skate shop, but the truck got robbed, and so you got to go find, you know, and like stuff like that, where there's all kinds of different little things going on, and then the main story, and it's all, you know, story-based cutscenes, all that type of thing. I wouldn't want to see Thug 1 or 2 or American Wasteland or Project 8 or Proving Grounds or Ride or Shred or Downhill Jam, but yeah, a Thug 3 could be done well. It would depend. I need Activision to spend money on it. That's the problem. They don't spend any money on the games now. They haven't put money into Tony Hawk in 10 years, and or more. I don't know, but that's the problem. They would get someone who would bid it low and make a game that doesn't work, try to patch it, and then eventually just quit. And that's why I don't really want a Thug 3. But if they were to really put in some cash and make something really good, that would be their best option. So those are my thoughts about the Tony Hawk series and where I hope it goes. I don't think we're going to get any of this. We're not going to get My Dream, the first 4 games, and we're probably not going to get a Thug 3. But if Skate 4 does amazing, you know, it's all business. They're all going to figure out what makes the most money and do that. But that's it for now. If you have any more questions, go to radratvideo.com and you can submit them there on the homepage. You can also submit them through Patreon. You can hit the join button here, and you can tell your friends. You can subscribe. You can do all that stuff. I appreciate all that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.